Mariah, you now have microphones. So they're very sensitive now, but when you talk, you just push the middle button. And then Mayor, as we get used to those, we can teach you how to, we can do it so that only one person can talk at once or leave them open. No,
Amy and Julie are on.
no, he's still,
Can you leave?
Lee, I don't see you.
Lee's gonna be virtual as well. From the airport if he could.
Give it another couple of minutes, but because we're on short time limit, if he doesn't show up in the next 2 minutes, I suggest we get started.
I agree. You indicated that. Are you able to hear us virtually?
Yes.
We are.
Let's go ahead and call the roll, do the pledge, and talk about the agenda, and we'll see if trustee is here, but by the time we get into discussion of ordinances, so if you would go ahead and call the roll, I appreciate it. Clerk Marquez Rubio.
Not working for you. Okay. Mayor Browning,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Wingard,
Present.
Trustee Jacobs,
Present.
Trustee Schwartz,
Present.
Trustee Lowell,
Present.
Trustee Williams, and Trustee McCurdy.
Present.
We all rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Do you have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? On the agenda, I would propose that we move item Roman numeral 4.2, ordinance 1223 to after, agenda item Roman numeral 7. In other words, the last agenda item before adjournment. I propose we move that when we get, and I'll just advise when we get there, I'm gonna also move to postpone that to a subsequent meeting so that we don't take that up today in view of the time constraints. I would make that motion that we move item Roman numeral 4.2 to be taken up after item Roman numeral 7. Is there a second for that amendment?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor? Yes, those attending by remote, if you like thumbs up,
Thumbs up is nice. We have a visual.
okay.
Sorry, can you just, instead of the Roman numerals, what
Yeah.
are we moving?
We're moving the appendix J grading permit thing to the last of the meeting, and I anticipate when we get there, moving to also postpone it to a subsequent meeting. It includes a public hearing, so I'll need to convene a public hearing, but after we've done that, I intend to move discussion to a subsequent meeting. But for right now, we're just moving it to the last item on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, can we discuss further other movements, or is this only discussion?
The motion on the table right now is to move that item to the end of the agenda. And then we can discuss it. If somebody else wants to move to amend the agenda further, we can at that point.
Yeah, so after we vote on this, you can make additional motions to amend
Right.
it.
Okay,
So the vote right now is simply on moving that one item to after, just prior to adjournment, put it that way. Is the clerk been able to record the votes?
Yeah, we need a thumbs up, middle, or down.
Okay.
Okay, right?
So that's.
No, it was the first one.
Yeah.
5.
Okay. Are there further motions relating to the agenda?
yes, I'd like to make a motion to actually, because my understanding was this meeting was going to be a brief meeting to discuss very time-sensitive issues, I would like to move to continue that ordinance 1223 and the board and commissions appointments to the next meeting on July 6th.
that ordinance 1223 has now been moved to the end of the agenda. It includes a public hearing. So my intent was to convene the public hearing. I expect it'll be short or no appearance, and then after we conclude the public hearing, then move to put it to a subsequent meeting. So that one's not before us right now.
Okay, so how about just moving item V, mayoral appointments, to the July 6th, just in the interest of time for those of us who understood this to be a quick, time-sensitive issue only meeting.
So that's your motion to move to the
Correct.
item of boards and commissions to July 6th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? I'll start the discussion then. This was set on July 29th because I had a discussion with, June 29th, because I had a discussion. It was originally, most of these appointments were set on the June 15th agenda. Trustee Jacobs raised an objection by email to proceeding on the 15th. I had a discussion with Trustee Schwartz, who suggested that we move into the 29th. So that's what I did. I emailed Trustee Jacobs about that. She said that was great with her. So I set them on the 29th for the agenda. I've informed several board chairs and several appointees that the appointments would be considered on the 29th. There are at least a couple of these boards that are meeting between now and next week. I don't believe that this item will take much time, and for all those reasons, I oppose the motion to postpone these. Some of these appointments have been pending for as much as 6 weeks now. I think it's time to get them done. So I'm opposed to moving these further. I don't believe this will take much time. Further discussion?
I just wanted to make sure we keep to an hour at least today. So that was why I supported the motion.
That is my intent to try to keep this to an hour. I don't anticipate that one or really any of them are going to take a substantial minute. So, I will call for the vote on the motion. The vote is on proposed amendment of the agenda to postpone item 5 on boards commissions to July 6th.
So it fails. 4-6.
Right?
4-2.
Yeah.
46, 4-6, okay. Okay, now we will vote on approval of the agenda as amended.
Ken?
So passes 4-2.
All right, first item, next item is audience business. In view of the need to, for several trustees, commitments to keep this meeting to an hour of audience business today, I believe we'll limit comment to 3 minutes. And I would also point out that if anybody's here to comment on the short-term rentals ordinance, that is set for a public hearing. So comments on that would be properly made when we reach that public hearing. Is there any audience business on other items?
I have an update. We're still, 113, said that now. I have a update on LCD Summit and I have an update commenting on Estes Park Council. I have paper copies. And I will, in the interest of time, email, if that's okay, each of the board members this content.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yes,
I signed up, but I just wanted to make sure you knew something this is ahead. This is the July 15th at the library on eligibility for Medicaid and special programs for children. I've given the administrators something to post at the city hall. We're gonna spread the word. We need to get people there, especially those who are in danger of losing their insurance at all, because they will help determine eligibility and help facilitate the application process. So please spread the word.
And sorry, Kay, can you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who I am some days. Kay Sparks, Apple Valley Road.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any follow-up by board members? If not, we'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, the ordinance and public hearings. Ordinance 1222 is an ordinance of the town of Lyons amending chapter 8, article 7, chapter 16, article 10 of the Lyons Municipal Code concerning short-term rentals. Is there a presentation by either the town staff or any representative from the task force?
Yeah, we'll start with staff. Attorney Dittman actually attended the PCDC meeting where they recently held a reading on this as well. And do you want to cover that, Brandon? Or do you want me to cover the memo?
Yeah, so the PCDC meeting went well. They had most of this had corrections of the bodies that is reflected in the resolution. They did have a few general comments and recommendations they wanted the BOT to consider, though. They wanted the BOT to consider a policy for off-site parking for special events, or when we designate a special event, that also considering an off-site parking policy. They want us to consider emergency management as part of each of these special event designations, and so we were bringing more people into town, that there would be considerations for emergency management given kind of the increased number of people in town. They wanted some indication within the board's ordinance and the whereas clauses about the trial nature of the cell program and the likelihood that it'll be updated over time. I think as we've kind of noted throughout this process, this is an attempt to start something, and that we all recognize there will be additional changes over time as we learn. I think they wanted something, more concrete in the whereas clauses reflect that nature of the program. Finally, they wanted more information around adequate utilities, about making sure that the properties that are within the cell program would have adequate utilities. They thought that could either be done in this ordinance or, probably more appropriately within staff regulations, but wanted the board to consider those impacts. And that was pretty much it from the PCDC. Otherwise, they're very supportive of this program, but it's had a few, questions and, things for the board to consider.
Thank you. Any questions of staff on this?
Yeah, I would just add, as the liaison there, I think the adequate utilities was specifically about the RVs, right?
Yeah, because for the RVs that are on town property or on the private commercial property, about whether there'd be adequate utilities. I will mention that at least for the private properties, which probably the bigger concern is, they are required to do a site plan, which would presumably have a consideration of that as part of the staff analysis, but they just wanted the board to consider those impacts.
Any further questions of staff? If not, then I would open the public hearing on ordinance 1222 and ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak. Mr. Sparks.
Gil Sparks, 2169 Apple Valley Road, Vice Chair of the Sundance Task Force. First, I'd like to thank all of you for how you have supported and moved the process forward to address this issue. The task force formed quickly. We've met multiple times now. We've had great input from the public, and your support has been very meaningful. So I just want to make sure you all feel we recognize your support and want to thank you for what you've done to help move this forward. That said, I will echo the PCDC meeting was fairly straightforward, generally supportive. I think Brandon adequately captured any comments about what occurred that evening. So what we're going to do is, or I'm going to do on behalf of the task force, is request that the board approve the ordinance in its current form. We recognize it's a first time effort. We feel there will be adjustments coming in the future, and we can amend it at that time. We don't have to solve all the anticipated issues right now. So we would hope you go ahead and approve it. Also, I know I wanted to address Trustee Lowell's continued what's happening with the HOA's question. Most recent information I have, we got one response that said this is not going to be a problem. We've not had two HOAs respond to us. And we've had Stone Canyon HOA apparently say absolutely not. And we've been quite clear to let the HOAs know that's within their purview, it's not a town issue. But that's at least, we've offered to sit down and talk with them, that offer's not been taken up, at least as of this point. But if somebody wants to meet in the future, we'll be more than willing to do so. So, if you have questions, we'll try to answer them. Sarah Lorraine, the chair, it's her daughter's birthday today, and they had conflicting plans, as many of us tend to do. So hopefully, can navigate any questions you might have.
Any questions from Mr. Sparks? Thank you, Bill, for the work you've done and for those comments. Any further public comments on the public hearing on this ordinance? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and we'll entertain a motion with respect to ordinance 1222.
Motion to approve ordinance 1222, an ordinance of the town of Lyons, amending chapter 6, article 7, chapter 16, article 10 of the Lyons Municipal Code concerning short-term rentals.
Is there a second? Discussion. I would like to make an amendment to add as section 3 of this ordinance, the tenant protection language that is set forth in the cover memo that was recommended by the task force. I don't believe I need to, in the interest of time, need to read it all into the record. It's in the packet, it's tenant protection, but it's subparagraphs 1, 2, and 3, and 4. This was discussed at first reading. And I would move to make that amendment to the ordinance. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
You know, the discussion on that is as discussed at the first reading, there are issues about staff resources and ultimately enforcing this. My view of it is it's mostly a prophylactic preventative measure that basically conveys the town's concerns about disturbing existing or potentially future long-term tenants. These protections were, I believe, adopted as part of the Boulder ordinance that we modeled our ordinance after they were recommended by the task force. And with respect to enforcement, should a situation come up in the future where the town is advised of something that allegedly did not comply with these, I believe a decision could be made at that time as to what enforcement resources would be applied. It could be as simple a matter as not renewing a permit for a second year. I think the town would not necessarily get involved in litigation or heavy staff efforts on this. So that's the reason for my amendment. Attorney Hittman?
Yeah, may I suggest that maybe rather than creating a new section 3, that we actually put it within the codification, so it'd be amending section 67170 of the codification to add a new section that would incorporate all those provisions.
Okay, I would amend my proposed amendment to include those references that the town attorney is just, it's in chapter 6, article 7. Or is it 16, article 10, which one would it best go in, do you think?
Well, I'm looking at the codification, and the special event lodging license is specifically 67170.
Okay,
And so this would only be applicable to those licenses, so I think it would be best fit under there.
okay. Thank you. Any further discussion?
So Brandon, you obviously, other than the ordering, you have no concerns about adding this.
Yeah, I think my only concern is the difficulty of enforcement, as we kind of previously have discussed, that staff doesn't feel it's equipped to, check on this. It'd be only complaint driven, and then it would, obviously require staff resources to do the enforcement. So that's no legal concern per se, but that's would be the practical concern.
Yeah, so Victoria,
Mhm.
yep, anything to say
No,
about this?
I expressed mine, yeah, if it's kind of unknown, that's gonna be complaint driven versus staff out enforcing until we work out some of these details in coming years. I understand why this is very important to have. We want to send a message that we're not going to allow people to, use or abuse tenants to make money off of this for a week or two. But I don't have any intent or capacity to go pursue this.
Understood. And I believe, I believe it would be complaint driven, and if there's a complaint, then anticipate staff and the board at that time determine what resources should or should not be devoted to enforcement. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
If not, I'll call for a vote on the amendment. This is to add the tenant protection language.
Did we get a second?
Oh, I believe it's.
We do have a second. But it was modified. I don't know if the second agreed to.
I'll second is not affirmed.
Thank you.
Vote on this.
Motion passed unanimously.
Any others?
And now we have the overall ordinance. Any further discussion on the overall ordinance 1222? If not, I'll call for the vote on that ordinance.
My motion passed unanimously.
We moved the ordinance 1222 to the end. On boards and commissions, from number 5, I would propose the appointments listed here, 6 different appointments. Some of them reappointments of people whose terms had expired and have reapplied, others new appointments. I think under the procedure we discussed at the prior meeting, I'll ask if there's a second on that proposed appointment, list of appointments.
I will second.
Discussion?
Yep, I have some concerns. I don't know, the process hasn't actually been passed yet, but I'm going to just formally say that I'm objecting to John Hunter to PCDC because we have another applicant who is qualified, who submitted an application prior to that one, who I think should be considered. And I have concerns again about the appearance of certain people not being considered for boards who might not be supporters of the mayor. So I just feel like I need to say that.
Other discussion? I'll simply say that. Oh, I'm sorry.
We agree. Well, I think just because 3 applicants have applied for 2 seats doesn't mean the 3rd applicant isn't still under consideration moving forward. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay.
I would just say with regard to the particular appointment, both appointments to the planning commission, they're both experienced land lawyers and are among the most qualified applicants for the planning commission I've seen in all of my time involved in town affairs. And I considered both of those. I discussed both of them with all of the appropriate parties and received no objections from any of the board liaison, staff liaison, or board chairs. And so I'm confident that each of these 6 proposed appointees are well qualified for their positions. Any further discussion?
Mayor, my only feedback is I'm not, as Trustee Jacob said, we still haven't approved the new process for boards and commissions, but I just don't know that the 2 PCDC candidates have met with the current chair. Maybe they haven't, I'm not aware, but moving forward, if that's a part of our process, I think we need to, when we get to this point, we need to know that or not.
I think my view of that process is it's up to the board chairs if they wish to contact the proposed appointees and by email, phone, personal meeting, that's up to them. I will say, I advised the board chair, the board liaison, and the staff liaison weeks ago as to both of these, and so I believe there's been adequate time for consultation on all of these.
Okay, I think we just need to clarify that and tighten that up.
Okay. All right. With that, I will call for the vote on the appointments.
I need thumbs up or down on appointments.
Passes unanimously.
All right. Next item, I believe, is a potential executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Yes, I will motion to go into an executive session held pursuant to CRS section 24-64024B for legal advice from attorneys representing the town concerning matters related to a legal complaint by Kenneth R. and Lana M. Cinnamon concerning 0 Stepney Avenue.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, I will call for the vote on going into executive session.
Thank you. We can start reading. There's